So now we're going to try to solve some equations with fractions in them. We typically don't like fractions, they're very complicated, so what we try to do is get rid of them. There is a trick to this. We are going to multiply through both sides by the least common denominator, or the least common multiple of denominators. Here's what I mean by that. Denominators here are 3 and 2. The least common multiple between 3 and 2 is 6. Here's how I know that. Multiples of 3, 3, 6, 9, so on. Multiples of 2, 2, 4, 6, 8. That 6 is common and it's the least common. So every time we do this, we're going to try to find the least common multiple. For the rest of the problems, I'm just going to tell you what the least common multiple is, but if you are having trouble finding out why that is the case, please hit pause and ask a teacher. So the least common multiple of the denominators here is 6, so we're going to multiply both sides of this equation by 6. We're going to distribute. 6 times 1/3 is 2. So 6 times 1/3 m is 2m. If you are unsure as to why 6 times 1/3 is 2, again, please pause and ask a teacher at any given time during any of these problems. You get confused with the arithmetic, meaning the multiplication or the division, hit pause and ask a teacher and they will explain it to you. So 6 times 1/3 is 2, so 6 times 1/3 m is 2m. 6 times negative 2 is negative 12. That is going to equal, okay, well now we're going to distribute the 6 to both. 6 times 5 halves. You can do that work out. 6 times 5 halves, well 6 times 5 is 30, divided by 2 is 15, so that's 15m minus, it's not going to be 10, it's going to be 60. Okay, so now we're going to move some of these variables. So I'm going to move the 2m by subtracting both sides by 2m, and that is going to give me negative 12 equals 13m minus 60. Now I need to move the 60, so I'm going to add 60 to both sides. That is going to give me 48 equals 13m. Finally, I'm going to divide by 13. I cannot simplify that anymore, so m is going to be equal to 48/13. So this problem deals with denominators of 5 and 3. So the least common multiple between 5 and 3 is 15. So I need to multiply both sides of this equation by 15. Okay, 15 times 2/5. Well, 15 times 2 is 30. Divided by 5 is 6. So that's 6y. Plus 15 times 2/3. 15 times 2 is 30. Divided by 3 is 10. So 6y plus 10 equals 15 times 4 is 60 minus 1/3 times 15. Okay, 15 times or divided by 3 is 5, so that's 5y. From here I want to move my y's. So I'm going to add 5y to both sides to move that 5y there. They cancel over here. I'm left with 11y plus 10 equals 60. I want to subtract 10 from both sides to move that 10. I'm left with 11y equals 50. Finally, I need to divide each side by 11. So y is equal to 50 over 11, and you cannot simplify 50 11ths. This problem has denominators of 4 and 3. So the least common multiple of 4 and 3 is 12. So what I'm going to do is the right side is not bad. I'm going to multiply by 12. This left side, I'm going to use these square brackets just to show that it's further outside than the other brackets. And this is where it gets a little bit different. Let's do the right side first. That way it's going to be a little bit easier. 12 times 5/3. So 12 times 5 is 60. Divided by 3 is 20. So that's 20x. Minus 2 times 12 is 24. Okay, so this is not a distributive property on the left. So these are 3 factors being multiplied. So 12 is a factor, 5/4 is a factor, and then 8 minus 3x is a factor. So you only have to multiply the 12 times 5/4. You don't need the double rainbow because they're all multiples. So you can do 12 times 5/4. So 12 times 5 is 60. Divided by 4 is 15. So 12 times 5/4 is 15. So I'm going to write in 15 here times 8 minus 3x. Again, you only have to multiply two of them because it's not distributive. It's not times a sum. Okay, now you do have a distributive on the left, though. The 15 does have to multiply by both the 8 and the negative 3x. 15 times 8 is 120 minus 15 times 3 is 45, so 45x equals 20x minus 24. Well, I want to move this 45x, the negative 45x, because I want a positive at the end. So add 45x to both sides, and left with 120 equals 65x minus 24. Okay, well now I need to move that 24. So I'm going to add 24 to both sides. And we're left with 65x equals 144. And finally, I'm going to divide by 65. There are no common factors there, so I'm going to leave it as 144 over 65. This equation has three different denominators. That's okay. We still need to find our least common multiple of 2, 3, and 6. That's going to be 6. If you're struggling with least common multiples, especially with 3 numbers now, hit pause, call teacher over. But the least common multiple between 2, 3, and 6 is 6. So we're going to multiply both sides by 6. I'm going to distribute. 6 times 3 halves. Well, 6 times 3 is 18. Divided by 2 is 9. So it's 9 plus. 6 times 2 thirds. Well, 6 times 2 is 12. Divided by 3 is 4. So 4d minus 6 times 4 is 24. Equals 6 times 5, 6. The 6's cancel. That's 5d plus 6 times 4 is 24. Divided by 3 is 8. So if you're having any trouble with these fraction multiplication problems, call a teacher over. Okay, now we need to combine some like terms. 9 and negative 24 can combine to be negative 15. That's not 9 and 24, it's not negative 24. 9 minus 24 is 15. They're on the same side of the equal sign, so you just collect or combine them. Everything else falls in line. Alright, from here I'm going to subtract 4d. They cancel. I'm left with negative 15 equals d. 5d minus 4d is 1d, or just d, plus 8. And then finally I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. So d equals negative 23. So now we have decimals. There's two ways to do decimals. You can do the decimals on your calculator, and some of the answers will get quite complicated, and you can use the calculator for that. That is one way to do that. However, the video is going to show you a way to clear the decimals, to make everything an integer with no decimals, which hopefully will make things a little bit easier for you. So the idea here is that there's one decimal place, is the longest decimal. So I'm going to multiply each side by one factor of 10. And you'll see in later problems there's more decimals multiplied by a bigger factor of 10. Or bigger multiple of 10, bigger multiple of 10. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 10. When I do the distributive property, 10 times 2.8 is 28. And 10 times 3 is 30, so 30d. And on the right side, double distributive as well. This is going to be 10 times 1.2 is 12d, minus 4 times 10 is 40. Okay, now I need to move my 12d to combine the d's on opposite sides of the equal sign, so I got to subtract here. So I'm left with 18d here, 28 over here, and equals negative 40. Now I'm going to subtract 28 from both sides. I have 18d equals negative 68. Be careful with your signs there, your negative signs. Okay, finally, I'm going to divide out by 18. So D equals negative 68 over 18. However, both top and bottom, so numerator and denominator, are even, so I can simplify this. That is going to simplify to, we'll cut them both in half, negative 34 over 9. So this problem has 2 decimal places. I realize the first term only has 1, but the second one does have 2. So we're going to multiply not by 10, but by 100. The number of decimal places is the same as the number of zeros, which you're multiplying by. Okay, double distributive again. 12.8 times 100 is not 128, but 1,280, or 1280. Okay, minus, oh, sorry, I need a W there. W. Minus 248. 2.48 times 100 is 248. Times, that should be negative 845W, when you distribute the 100 to both, plus 800. Okay, now I need to start moving some stuff. So I'm going to move my W's first. So plus 845W, plus 845W. That gets me 2,125W. And the rest fills in. Then I'm going to add 248 to both sides. And I get 1048. Okay, last step. Divide both sides by 2125. That cannot simplify, so my answer is, which is not x at all, it's W. W equals 1048 over 2125. All right, number 13 is next. This problem's a little bit tricky, but here's what I would do. I would take this 2 and this 5. They're on the same side of the equal sign. I combine them. Combine like terms. That's 7. So that's negative 3t plus 7. You can rewrite everything on the left. So 4.24 times 2t minus 1. Now I'd multiply everything through. There's 2 decimals on the left. So I'm going to multiply it by 100. And remember, this is not distributive on the left. There's 3 different things being multiplied, the 100, the 4.24, and 2t minus 1. So you can just multiply consecutive ones. So this is going to be 424 times 2t minus 1 equals negative 300t plus 700. I multiply both of these by 100. If you are unsure as to why I did not distribute on the left, but I did on the right, hit pause, call teacher over. At this point, I am going to distribute on the left now. So 424 times 2 is 848. So it's 848t minus 424 equals negative 300t plus 700. So now I'm going to add 300t to both sides. Going to cancel out and get 1148t minus 424 equals 700. Then I'm going to add 424 to both sides. That's 1148t equals 1124. Finally, I'm going to divide out by 1148, and that can simplify. 1124 over 1148 can simplify to 281 over 287. And if you're confused as to how that can simplify, again, hit pause and call your teacher over. All right, last decimal problem for now. So you can see there's a decimal inside of the parentheses. So that does create a little bit of a problem. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to distribute. I'm going to distribute this negative 3. And I'm going to distribute the 1.2. And I am going to use my calculator for this because I'm using decimal arithmetic here. So what this ends up being is negative 7.5x minus 9. So negative 3 times 2.5 is negative 7.5. And again, use your calculator to help you out with this arithmetic. Distributed 1.2, that's 7.2 minus 4.8x. Okay, here is where I'm going to multiply out by a power of 10, or sorry, multiple of 10. No, it's a power of 10. So you're going to multiply everything by 10. So that's going to be negative 75x minus 90 equals, multiplied by 10, 72 minus 48x. Okay, now I'm going to combine my x. I'm going to move this 75x because I want my result to be positive. But if you did the other way around, you can still get the right answer. Equal, you're going to be, sorry, they cancel out. Negative 90 equals 72 plus 27x. Okay, then I'm going to subtract 72 from both sides. And I'm going to be left with negative 162 equals 27x. Going to divide by 27. And things turn out nice. This one equals negative 6.